here on Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman as we continue our discussion about dark money in politics with Andy Kroll, reporter for Mother Jones Magazine and co-editor Monica Boyerlein. Juan Gonzalez and I did this interview last week. Andy's new cover story is called Follow the Money. I interviewed them and we talked to them and asked Andy what hope citizens have for fair elections given the vast sums of money influence the outcome of a race.
They can't pin their hope on regulators or the cops on the beat, especially at the federal level. The Federal Election Commission, which is the main cop on the beat here in Washington, is hopelessly gridlocked and compromised, and it has sort of been taken hostage by three of its 6 commissioners are conservatives who, frankly, don't believe in enforcing the law as it stands today. And so they have reduced the FEC to sort of a mumbling waste of time, if you will. I mean, I really think it comes, if the citizens, want some kind of hope or need to look somewhere for, information or inspiration. I mean, they've really got to look to the media outlets in whether nationally or in their communities who are covering this issue, because that is where the information is coming from. And there are a lot of good reporters out there on this beat who are knocking on doors, who are going to UPS stores, who are, rifling through thousands of documents and trying to put names and faces and context to all this money coming into our elections. And there are a lot of good people doing this, and that's really where the public has to go, because our watchdogs are they've fallen down on the job, and they're not really, there's really no hope for them this election cycle, it seems.
Earlier this year, comedian TV host Stephen Colbert mocked the Supreme Court Citizens United ruling by announcing a planned presidential run in the South Carolina primary. On his show, The Colbert Report, he explained because he's barred from entering the race and simultaneously running a super political action committee, or super PAC, Colbert had given up control of his super PAC to fellow talk show host Jon Stewart.
Trevor, if you will.
Colbert Super PAC transfer activate.
I am proud to announce that I am forming an exploratory committee to lay the groundwork for my possible candidacy for the President of the United States of South Carolina. I'm doing it!
That was Stephen Colbert. Monica Boyerlein, talk about what he is making fun of. And also, name names here. For example, Karl Rove's dark money outfit, Crossroads GPS. Obama's campaign chief counsel, Robert Bauer, filed a complaint with the FEC, arguing that Crossroads GPS now has an obligation to disclose its anonymous donors without delay. Tell us specifically here who's in charge.
What the Supreme Court did in Citizens United was say that when you are not giving your money in a campaign directly to the candidates' committee, to their candidates' official campaign committee, then we cannot regulate you because you are free to speak your mind, and spending a ton of money is a form of speaking your mind. And the court also found that corporations are persons just like you and me with protected free speech rights, so that corporations can also speak their minds and spend tons of money as they see fit. And so this distinction between doing this as what's called as an outside expenditure and vis-a-vis giving directly to a campaign is really critical. That's the only, that is, if you will, the thin legal thread on which this deregulatory effort rests. In order to spend money as they see fit, these entities have to maintain the facade, I'll say, that they are entirely independent of campaigns and really have nothing to do directly with the candidates they support. And so that's why Colbert had to beam his super PAC over to Jon Stewart. That's why there are great lengths being gone to make sure that the committee that everybody knows is supporting Mitt Romney's candidacy is not directly connected to Mitt Romney, even though we all understand whom they're trying to elect. And so disclosure of who is giving money to these committees, how they're spending it, is fairly critical to citizens being able to evaluate them. And at the same time, non-disclosure is pretty critical to these organizations' ability to do what they want to do, which is influence elections quickly and without people catching on to them necessarily.
Well, the billionaire casino mogul and right-wing donor Sheldon Adelson has thrown his financial support behind Republican frontrunner Mitt Romney. Adelson and his wife have donated $10 million to the pro-Romney super PAC Restore Our Future in the past few days. Adelson initially supported Newt Gingrich during the Republican primary, giving a pro-Gingrich super PAC more than $20 million. Adelson said he could wind up spending up to $100 million to support Republican candidates in the 2012 race. And ironically, though, the donation by Gingrich's former backer to Romney came just as Gingrich himself openly complained that U.S. elections are rigged in favor of the wealthy. Gingrich was speaking in an appearance on MSNBC.
It's very hard to compete with a billionaire if they get to spend all the money they want and the middle-class candidates raising money in $2,500 units. So I think the current system is rigged, frankly, in favor of the wealthy.
Monica, your response, given the fact that Gingrich stayed in the race for so long because of the money that was donated to him by Adelson.
Good for him, you know. I mean, you might say even a stop clock is right once a day. I mean, Gingrich hits it on the head here that, in fact, it's true that billionaires are underwriting political campaigns and are in a position to change our political fortunes in a way that regular people at this point really cannot. And, you know, Sheldon Adelson is somebody we know about because he is public about his giving, but there are a lot of people whom we cannot know about. They can conceal their giving in a 501c organization that then gives the money to a super PAC that then spends it. And it's very, very hard to trace it back to who originally made that investment and what they expect as a return on their investment, if you will.
Interestingly, one of the co-chairs of President Obama's re-election campaign has openly criticized the president's decision to accept super PAC funds. Democracy Now! Spoke to former U.S. Senator Russ Feingold of Wisconsin after his appointment as co-chair of the Obama re-election campaign in February.
And I think it's a big mistake to go down the road of unlimited, undisclosed corporate contributions. That's not who Barack Obama is. That's not what the Democratic Party should be. And I think it doesn't help him get reelected. And I think it delivers the Democrats as well as the Republicans to corporate power and corporate domination. So that's why Progressives United and I feel this way.
Yep, that is Russ Feingold. It wasn't hours after he was chosen as one of the co-chairs of President Obama's re-election campaign. Andy Kroll, talk about this. I mean, often the corporate media just expresses the range of debate between the Republicans and the Democrats, and often that debate is almost nil. We're in an election year. It may come up a little more because President Obama is so far behind in raising money that they may start to raise this issue, but they're going after the same money trough. They are picking the same pockets as the Republicans. So it's unlikely that the Democrats are going to be raising this issue and going after the super PACs. Can you please talk about that?
Yeah, the Obama campaign is in a weird place right now in their attempts to court big donors for instance, for the Priorities USA Action Super PAC, which is a strictly pro-Obama super PAC, is in a very difficult spot because, you know, in 2008, President Obama said, no, we don't want any outside help. We don't want any outside political groups spending money independently to help us or to attack George W. Bush. You know, we want complete control of our message. And you know, the irony is that the Obama staffer in 2008 tasked with basically getting those outside groups out of the picture is a man named Bill Burton, who is now running President Obama's super PAC. So a little bit of irony there. The problem is, you have the Citizens United decision. You have the SpeechNow.org decision, which directly paved the way for super PACs. And what you have is a political playing field in which Republicans have no qualms with raising unlimited money, with going to the Sheldon Adelsons, with going to the Harold Simmonses of the world, these big donors, and just raking in 7- and 8-figure donations. You know, what the Democrats will tell you is that we cannot unilaterally disarm, is one line they use. We cannot fight with one hand tied behind our back, is another line that they use. We are going to use all the tools at our disposal to try to win this race, both at the presidential level and in House races and in Senate races. I was just sitting down with a super PAC fundraiser for the Democrats yesterday, and you know, his line is, you know, we've got to play by the rules of the game as we have them, and the president, you know, is going to get steamrolled by money from Sheldon Adelson, by money from the Koch brothers and their donor network, by money from you know, the conservative movement. Anyway, he's going to get steamrolled. He's going to get buried in money anyway. But we have to punch back against that money, and we're going to use every tool that we can. It's interesting, though, because you see, for instance, Obama advisor David Axelrod out talking to people and saying, you know, we might think about a constitutional amendment to fix Citizens United after we win this race. You know, we're going to think about big-time campaign finance reform. We're really concerned about super PACs. But, you know, they're saying one thing, and they're in a way doing another. They're really in a tough spot. But they're gonna jump into this money race just as much as the other side because they think it's crucial, and they think they're dead in the water if they don't.
That was Andy Kroll, reporter for Mother Jones Magazine and co-editor Monica Boyerlein. Andy's new cover story is Follow the Dark Money.